Hello, my friends, and welcome to Sunday School with me, your host, Sarah, here in the Luxton Temple. I'm going to get straight to your cards today, but first of all, I'm using the Secret Tarot today. That's the back. There's some of the cards. And my dear, wonderful Mamita got me this deck after a friend had tagged me in this picture. And my mom saw it and she very cleverly found it and got it for me, sent it to me in the mail as a gift. So sweet. My mom's birthday is today, another Gemini like me. So I want to wish you a happy birthday, Mom. Happy birthday to my beautiful mom. She has always been so supportive of me in the realms of magic and spirituality and creativity and being kind of a wandering gypsy. I'm very grateful to her. Not all mothers would be so supportive of a path such as mine. So let's get to your cards. So once again, we're talking about how to cultivate heaven upon earth. And I decided we should mix it up this time instead of just focusing on the work that you do, because it's not all about work. Sometimes it's just different modalities and different perceptions that can become gifts and blessings to ourselves, that we give ourselves, gifts and blessings. So basically I'm going to look into what is the gift or blessing for you this week? What is the gift or blessing to you this week that is helping you to cultivate heaven upon earth, your version of heaven upon earth? So pick a card, number 1, number 2, or number 3. Pick your card now, and then you'll be able to fast forward to that card. All right, so starting off with card number 1 for what is your gift? What are you blessed with this week in your quest to bring heaven to earth? The Ten of Swords. So this is the one that is really challenging to see as a blessing. You can see that this guy looks very similar to kind of crucifixion vibes. So funny, I didn't mean to do this, but Temperance is on the other side. I feel like you have 2 blessings showing up. I'm going to combine them for you guys because this one is just really yelling at me. So the Ten of Swords is an irreconcilable ending, but you have to remember that swords are the intellect and swords are conflict, swords are ego. So swords are really, really the cause of 99% of our suffering, because swords are our limited perspective as far as how we see things. And also they are, when you're talking about Ten of Swords, that's when the mind has grappled with something on and on and on, trying to understand it, trying to learn from it, trying to hold on to it, trying to rectify it with some logical, rational conclusion. And when the Ten of Swords happens, it requires surrender, because you've reached the end of your ability to calculate or make sense of a situation. And oftentimes you've reached a point of exhaustion and you've reached essentially like a brick wall as far as your inertia goes to continue with something. And so there are always feelings of pain with endings and with the Ten of Swords, and that is the transitional process of letting go. So change is always painful. Change is always painful. And when you reach the Ten of Swords, that's the end of the game as far as your mind wrestling with something. I'm really actually oddly thinking of the battle in the Bible, Jacob and the angel. And Carl Jung writes a really great perspective on that story of it being a psychological example of battling one's own ego, trying to overcome one's ego and trying to connect with one's angel, which is the higher conscious force, which transcends the ego, which really is temperance here. Temperance is shown as an angel. Temperance is as above, so below. And temperance is patience, compromise. This one has like the cutest little sort of meerkat. I don't know what that means, honestly, but it feels like playfulness. It's also an element of the underworld coming up as a sort of playful element, blending the above and below, which is really lovely. So the gift is when you are given or reach the gift that may be really hard to see as a gift, the blessing of the end of a friendship, of a struggle. It's always going to have been a struggle. It's always going to have been a struggle, okay? It's not defeat. It's not defeat. It's release. It's release, and it's protection, and it's initiation into a new phase, okay? So release, protection, and initiation with the gift of an end, of a conclusion, okay? Next comes a new story. All right, so card number 2. All right, what is your gift? What shall you be blessed with this week? The Queen of Wands. She's fun. Okay, the Queen of Wands. So, or the Queen of Batons. So the Queen of Wands is the fire queen. Now this could be you, or it could be somebody coming into your life, okay? Could be an ally, could be a boss, could be a friend, could be a creative partner, could be someone you meet in the grocery store. But the Queen of Wands is somebody who's very fiery, who's very passionate, who is very expressive, okay? She says what she feels. And usually what she feels is of a positive or playful nature. So usually when she's negative, it's just like poking fun at something or being kind of sassy. Because she tends to have her fire aligned with the sun, which is she's trying to bring things up. She's trying to nurture things. She's trying to nourish things and bring things into the light with her, because she hangs out in this sort of passionate, fiery little ball. She's like a little fireball, okay? She can have like fae energy, like fairy energy, like fairy queen energy a little bit sometimes. Also like mother of dragons, like Khaleesi energy. So she is strong, and she really believes in her ideas, and other people believe in her ideas too. And people tend to trust her, and they want to hear what she has to say. She's very, very full of ideas. So you're going to either be coming into contact with a person like this, who helps to inspire you, to direct you towards something, to communicate a new idea or a new way of seeing things or a new way to get through in a situation, or help you to bring something to life that you've been having trouble getting going, okay? So be on the lookout for this woman or feminine character, could be in a male or female biological body, that's going to be very inspiring and motivating for you. Or this can be you, when you have something to say and people are calling you to say what you have to say, to express yourself, and also to lead. She is a leader. So if people are calling upon you to lead them, direct them in a group somehow, that's very Queen of Wands, or to shed your light on something, to share your perspective, to communicate what it is that you see in a situation. That can be your Queen of Wands really coming to life, bursting, blooming forth in this springtime season. Okay, card number 3. Okay, card number 3. The 4 of Cups. So, you are blessed by a new opportunity. a heart opportunity, aligned with your heart. So a few things coming through on this card. A, he's resting under a tree, okay? So you are blessed with a little break, a little bit of contemplation, a little bit of reevaluation. And specifically, the Four of Cups is really, really, really about connecting with your heart center and your heart mind. You know, your heart has a mind too. Your heart has actual brain cells that send messages to your head mind. So reconnecting with what your heart wants. You know, when we're children, we're all very connected with our heart and our heart's desire. And things usually come to children very easily. Or like, think about, you know, if you went to school and graduated from school, how easily things came to you, unless you were already like jaded or isolated or something like that. But generally people go out and get jobs, and they go out and they're meeting people and they're mingling and they're doing things. Their hearts are open. They haven't had too many negative experiences yet. As we get older and we experience disappointment and pain and all of that stuff, we often close our hearts. So that is part of what this card is. There's these 3 cups, which are things that he's already had, things that you've already had, things that once enchanted you and inspired you and moved you, and they no longer move you anymore. They've become poison, or you've just drank in everything in that cup. You've moved away from that phase of your life. So then there's this cup that's being offered from the clouds. What is the clouds? The clouds are an etheric realm. They are water. Water element is associated with the heart, but also sun, solar, illumination, because that makes the clouds, you know, it makes the clouds move around and take form and take shape. And so there is definitely an aspect when something is coming from a cloud, you can't pin it down, okay? It's like when you're looking at a picture, when you're trying to make a picture or see animals in the clouds, and they're changing as you're staring at them. Now, this is often the nature of the heart's true desire. It often changes until it solidifies into, you know, what is it, like a storm that rains upon the land. The land is what you're doing. The land is what you're cultivating, what you're creating, what you're making out of your life with your body, okay? Like, even though if you're using your heart and your mind and you're creating something on the computer or whatever it is, you're still using your body. So your body is really important in this equation. Now, also though, it's about paying attention to what the heart wants, whether or not you can trust its movement and its change. Because this cup, this grail, is coming from a cloud delivery vessel, it indicates that the true desire of your heart is in a sort of morphic phase, where it is shifting from one thing to another, depending on your mood, depending on what you're processing that day, depending on what your environment is. And at this stage in the game, it's important to let it have that flexibility and to let it sort of morph and to let it be free, because that's really what the heart wants to do. It wants to be free. Now, the heart, though, it does have missions, like the Grail. I always think of the Grail with this one, because it's like, you just have to grab it. It's right there. The Grail has so many different definitions, but ultimately we can call it our quest. What is our quest, okay? So if you continue to follow your heart and trust in your heart and in that opening and in that voice of your heart that tells you to go towards something, it will eventually turn into and lead you into your solid quest, okay? After it's done morphing into cloud forms, the rain will come and the rain will fertilize whatever that dream is. If it's like buying a new car, if it's traveling around the world, if it's writing an album, if it's getting married and having kids, like whatever it may be, just allow it to morphically shift and to go towards what that feeling is. That is your blessing in giving yourself that allowance and that permission. Your Grail quest is as important as anything else in the world. Anything else in the world. Okay. All right. I love you guys, and I will see you next week.